All right, so in this video, I will break down how I built a pretty lean 20K coaching business from scratch while traveling the world with my girlfriend. And this is not like this video where I'm going to hype up how amazing their journey is. It's it's a roller coaster, to be honest. And it's not easy, but it's not hard either. It's kind of like, it's this thing where you have to be. I always picture myself as this scientist sitting in a lab, just testing different stuff and looking at the variables, and then use that feedback to iterate and adjust the process until I find something that sticks, that works, and then I do more of those things. So I'm going to take you through my notes, my documents, everything that I did while building up this coaching business. And if you don't have your own coaching business, or if you are not planning to create something like that, I don't think this video is for you, because it's very technical. It's very boring, but it's extremely valuable insights if you are doing these things yourself. So if I had this information back when I started this, holy shit, that would make that journey so much easier. So stick with me. Here on the screen, you can see the agenda for this video. First, I'm going to show you my dashboard, how I did all my backend, how I did my work process, and all of these things. And then I'm going to show you how I picked my niche, how I did that decision on exactly who do I want to talk to, who do I want to help, who do I want to work with, and stuff like that. And then I'm going to show you how I use that information to create my offer and my go-to-market strategy. And then I'll show you the inside of my copywriting funnel. I set everything up in Trello. I mean, that's just the way I like to do it. But yeah, it works with any software that you like. So I'm going to show you inside what I used, and then I'm going to show you the funnel and the lead magnet that I used to basically get all the leads for this 20K business. And I'm going to show you how I did my CRM, how I put that up, and how I strategically worked my way to getting those clients in. And then I'll show you how I onboarded these people. So basically, just a short, quick story, like a backstory here. In July 2024, I exited a 7-figure e-learning company. And that was to fulfill my teenage dream of traveling the world. So by December, I got sick of living like a full-time traveler. So in January 2025, not long ago, I decided to start taking on business coaching clients, still traveling, but with more purpose. So I sat down with myself and I built out this game plan. I decided on who I want to help, what my offer would be, how I would charge, and how many people that I had capacity for. Since I was still on the road, I kept it lean and beautiful. So I chose to put my roof at 5 clients. I wanted to be exclusively work with a small audience, and then offer one-to-one coaching over a 3-month period, 90 days. And I decided to help the person that I used to be myself, someone who had already tried building a digital business but was lacking a clear strategy and needed accountability. And I built the process in real time on myself first. So what I did was I tested everything on my own business, and then I wrote the SOPs and recorded loops, just like this one. And then I DM'd my market and started 5 to 10 conversations each day. And then I scheduled meetings with people that I thought I could help. And then I onboard those I knew how to support. And that's where the beauty comes, because this process up until this point is pretty basic. But what I did instead was, while coaching, I noticed that the same problems showing up. I noticed that the same problems when talking to my coaching clients, they were showing up again and again on different people, but they were struggling with the same problems. So every time I explained something 3 times I just recorded another loom, just like this one. And then I updated and adjusted my coaching with data. And then I coached my mentorship clients through it. And then I finalized the frameworks, and then I turned it into an email sequence and a free toolbox. And then I made a value video explaining the process to new clients. Like, I did a lot of these things with these looms, and it was just genius because I didn't need to repeat myself on the same things all the time. And in 45 days, I had filled up my capacity at 5 clients, and I had invoiced 20K as a one-man show. So each spot was for 90 days, as I said, and it was kind of like a hands-on coaching. And I created that for 3 different goals. And it was to help the people that I used to be, because I knew how shitty it feels to basically be trapped inside this journey of you want this so much, but you just cannot get across the first obstacles. And I knew how to fix that because I have done it multiple times in my own businesses. So I wanted to help these people that reminded me of myself. And that's what I did. So that was one of the goals. And then the second was to grow my coaching business. And the third was to turn it into valuable content. So all the goals were aligned towards the same thing, basically. And each loom went into a Notion folder organized by topics. And after about a month, I had recorded 38 videos breaking down the entire 90-day journey. And then I used client results as case studies to attract new potential clients. So that's basically what I did. I don't need to tell you more. So that was my process as a backstory. And let's just dive into behind the scenes. So here is my Notion brain. This is how I set up my whole Notion brain. Notion, just to give you some backstory of that too. Notion is kind of like this place where you can basically build out your brain in a digital version. So whatever thoughts you have, whatever things that you want to do, you can basically just search a tool up here. Let's say idea. Okay, let's say here, monthly planner. If you want to schedule something, get a system on whatever you're going to do for a month, you can basically find a template here and then start plug and play your stuff in there. So in Notion, you can basically do whatever you want. So if you are doing something for work, you can find something in marketing, VC, finance, website building. You can do anything in here. So Notion is, to me, a very great tool. And that's what I like to use. So back to here, I like to also keep it pretty simple. I don't like to have a lot of different stuff with a lot of function stuff. So I basically separate it into 4 different folders. I have the front end, I have the back end, I have my network, and I have my, okay, it's in Norwegian, I'm sorry. So it's kind of like your garage. So that's how I structure out all of my thoughts when building out a new business. So I think, what is on the front side of the business? What is on the back side? The processes, the systems, the actual client work and stuff. Who am I supposed to talk to? Like potential clients, who inspires me? I list them down here in different folders. And when I am done working on something, I just basically, let's say I have here is a client. So in here, I basically, when I'm done with this thing, and I'm no longer working with them, but I don't want to delete it because maybe I need to find something from that folder later on, then I put it into Garage. So, and then I just basically have that system. So the most important things that I'm working on is up here at this section. And then when I'm done, I put it into the Garage. And so this is basically how it looks when working with this system. So here I have my operation where I can see like my principles, my rules, how I do my salary from my business, how I do my workflow, how I do my operations, my mastermind. Like I do I basically have a folder with all of the things that I need to remember and do each day. That moves my boat towards my vision. And then I have my front end. So this is kind of like the things that my potential customer sees when they are working with me and they go into my profile and they look through my stuff and everything. That's what they see when they are seeing my front end side of work. Like, let's say I would work on my website at the moment, and my website folder would be right here. So then I would have that there. Oh, okay. Let's see. So you get the point. So when I'm done with that, I put it down in my garage. So here's my lead magnet. I'm going to show you everything of these things later on. Here's my email sequence. Here's my clients. Here's my prospecting list. Here's my potential clients, my Dream 100 Steal list, people that inspired me throughout the journey. I'm going to also show you a little bit about that later on. So that's how I pick my brain. That's how I understand how this system is built. So yeah, that's my second brain. And then here, after working with these different clients, I had also built this Loom client vault. So now it's 42 videos in here, where you can basically see some videos are long, some videos are short, explaining different stuff that I got asked when I was in coaching calls, when I was talking to people, doing interviews, trying to handle objections and stuff like that. I picked up stuff and I wrote them down, and then I made videos about them, explaining how to solve them. So here you can see kind of like how to build a second brain in Notion, how to plan and design. Let's see what this is. How to plan and design. Yeah. So you get the point. So every single video has a purpose, and they are specifically been asked by the actual client that I'm having, or it's basically made because I faced this problem myself, or one of my clients faced it and I had to solve it for them. So this is not me trying to guesswork. This is me actually studying and doing research and being client obsessed. So that's how I built this thing. And let's go over how I picked my niche. And, back in the days when I was trying to pick out the niche, I was trying to answer every single pain point that the client had. And I was just sitting and trying to write down everything. And now I have completely changed my approach in finding my target audience. And the way I think about it is I ask myself a couple of questions, and I follow these principles and rules. So I want to be in a space of people that I genuinely want to help and that I care about helping, because that's very important. If I actually want to put my heart and soul into making these people successful in whatever they want, I need to be feeling like this kind of people I can vibe with, I can have fun with them, but at the same time, I can be serious with them. So I need to have that sort of inner drive to want to help them out. And then as a second point here, I need to know exactly what these people want and need. And that's the thing. I need to know these things better than they know it themselves. I need to really understand what keeps them up at night. And to know that, I cannot sit in my couch at home trying to read papers and research stuff. And I have to go out and talk to them, because how do I know? And then I need to know what these people are struggling with. So I actually have to dig deeper in the conversation and ask why more times than I'm maybe comfortable with, because the people that I talk to, if they knew how to fix their problems, they would probably fix their problems, but they need help. So I need to ask a lot of follow-up questions to dig deep and really get to the core. And then I need to know how to solve this problem. And how do I know if I can solve these problems if I haven't tried it myself? So I had to try whatever I wanted to build. I had to coach. I had to try it myself with their pain points in mind, and kind of like build out the process myself first as a hypothesis. So if I make sure it works for me, then I know that I can coach it as well. So yeah, what values will you use to form your solution? And that's something that I missed out on the first round of going out and launch this product on when I first started the first month. And I'm also going to show you this because that was this question was something that I added after doing this one time, and I'm going to show you why. Because it's so important that you, together with your potential client and client, has the same values, has the same kind of like things that you guys believe in. Because if not, well, maybe you know how to help them, but you're not going to be connected. You're not going to be like vibing around the actual conversation. So it's just going to be a bit awkward. So I really wanted to put that in and address it, because I think it's very important that you are aligned with the people that you help in a way that is actually kind of like outside business, kind of like you see them as someone that you would like to hang out with as well, because then it's just more fun to do this job. So the version 1 of the kind of coaching niche that I hit after making my hypothesis was this one. I wanted to be an entrepreneurship coach for Norwegian university students looking to build a side hustle, because that's what I had done for the past 3-4 years. I had been a university student doing a bachelor in entrepreneurship, and I did that at the same time as I built a lot of different projects, and most of these projects, they failed because I did not get that help that I should have had when I built these things and also juggled with the different classes. It was too much for me, and I didn't know how to actually sort this out to become something that I would succeed with. So that was a big passion of mine, to help these kind of people. And that's why I chose this as a starting hypothesis. So my go-to market strategy with this in mind is that I try to find every single thing, my experience, my stories, my everything, and I mapped it out so I could basically see how can I relate to these people. So I try to find all the pictures that was about me in a study environment. I tried to find all the notes that I had written down and stuff like that, so I could kind of like get to know myself more in the actual phase that they were currently at. So I just mapped out everything and I just put it into one place. And then when I did that, I started to sort this stuff into the actual I sorted out into this little folder, and then I used that to make a picture of myself as this person. And then I went into my LinkedIn profile and I started to basically treat my LinkedIn as a lab, yeah, whatever. So I just started to push out content that I thought would make sense to attract my ICP, my ideal client. And as you can see, some of these things just, it did not work. I got like 10, 3, 38, 26. I almost didn't get any feedback in the beginning. And this is 9 months ago. Yeah. So it was just me testing. And as I did this, I also knew that I don't know better than the people ahead of me. So I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I wanted to find the people that was really good in their field and make a list of the people that I could relate to in the way that maybe they were writing or maybe they were having viewpoints that I really liked. So I created a list here of people in my Notion. So as you can see, that's in my Steal. And then I found different type of people that I wanted to steal ideas from. So let's just look at something here. So this was in the beginning when I wanted to build this 75 hard challenge format. So, I've always tried to be creating an idea of having a brand focused around business, but also on fitness. So I wanted to try that out. So I studied someone that had actually done that. And I basically wrote down every single thing that I saw that I wanted to implement and what I didn't want to implement and what target audience they had based on what I saw and what their focus was and the backstory. I tried to really get deep into these people to understand how they did their marketing and how I could learn what to do and what not to do. So I just basically studied their funnel and strategy and everything. And then I tried to do it. Okay, camera turn off. Anyways, yeah. So let's see here. Basically, you can see like my whole 75 hard try. It obviously didn't work. It was, I posted every single day with like edits and everything for 75 like days full on, but it was a flop project, which kind of sucked, but it was fun. So yeah, I tried at least to build this thing out and just to test. But yeah, so that's what I did, and then I did other stuff as well. Let's see here. So that was for Instagram. Someone else that I modeled for LinkedIn was someone called Justin Welsh. Maybe you've heard about him. Um, what I did was I wanted to basically recreate his LinkedIn strategy for getting in leads into the email sequence. So I basically spent a full-on weekend just digging down into how he launched his product into his email sequence to launch products later on. So I did a lot of research and I basically studied everything that he had done. Yeah, so that was who I modeled. And then my LinkedIn copywriting funnel was, yeah, basically. So just picture a restaurant, if you want clients, you got to put on the lights and you got to put out the chairs so people are feeling welcomed and they know what kind of restaurant that you have. And you need to also write the name. You have to pick out the logo. You have to make it kind of nice and shiny so the right kind of people want to get in. And that's what I did with my LinkedIn profile as well. I kind of tailored my profile around my offering. So since I wanted to be a student coach, like a student founder coach, I basically wrote that all over my LinkedIn profile. Unfortunately, that's not how my profile looks anymore because I have basically stopped selling this offer. But yeah, that's what I did. I basically, if I would go into my LinkedIn here, I would have my banner, which would say like student coach, whatever. And I would have a big picture of me working out because I wanted to have that as a kind of like show my personality, show my interest and stuff. And then I would write my sentence here, what I do. And then I would basically just have my lead magnet here and write a small little about myself. So I had set up my restaurant. I would put out the chairs, turn on the lights, and make it nice and cozy for the people that I wanted to attract. Sorry. So yeah, that was what I did on that part. And then I built my content also around my offer. So let's look at my Trello here. So my Trello is where I brought in all of my ideas. So let's see here. Every single day before writing, I wanted to remind myself of who and what I was wanting to be associated with and what I was going to write about. So I wanted to be associated with entrepreneurship, personal development, business, lifestyle, and student stuff. You know what? I don't know why I don't have fitness as well, because that's obviously a big part of what I'm showing you here. And I would write about how to find passion, some sales experiences that I had trying to basically build businesses and stuff like that. And then also, obviously, building businesses from scratch, and more like motivation, experiences, and observations. I'm sorry, this is in Norwegian, by the way. It's because I did this as a Norwegian person selling to Norwegian clients. So every single thing basically that you see is in Norwegian. So I'm trying my best to explain on top. But here, as you can see, down, this is where I sorted all of my ideas. So whenever I got an idea, sitting on the train, getting out of the shower, sitting, walking or running or stuff like that, I would stop when this idea hit my head, and I would just open Trello on my phone and I would just put it in like any other person do on notes or stuff. And then I would sit down every Sunday or every Saturday or something, whenever I had the time. I would sit down and I would look through my notes here, and then I would think, what could be a good way to present this, and is it even something that I would like to work on? And if it would be, let's say this one, I would drag it to working with, like in progress. And then I would open it and I would see, I have a dream. When you see some blah, 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 blah. And obviously that was not a good one. So let's say this one. And I would say here, something that also, this one I found someone else on LinkedIn writing this, and I thought it was very nice. So what I did was I took this and I basically recreated it somewhere down on my LinkedIn somewhere. And I made a version for myself because it was something that I found to be inspiring. So yeah, I don't need to look. There it is. So here you can see my version compared to the version that I found, the one that I stole. Here you can see, bookstores are incredible. You're surrounded by hundreds of ideas and stories that started as small sparks. So here's my kind of take on it, which is the exact same, just angled in a different way. And you see, I even stole this one, basically copy pasted some parts of it, because yeah, I just flipped stuff here. And that goes back to my principle of don't reinvent the wheel. Someone has done it before you. You can just do it your own way. Yeah, so I posted a lot of posts on LinkedIn twice a week-ish was my go-to. And at the same time as I was doing that, I started conversations with full-time students with precision using the mom test. So what I did every single day, like I would connect with like 20 different people that I thought would be in my audience, that I thought would like my content that I shared, and maybe eventually would become clients. So what I did was I would just start conversations and connecting with different people that I thought would be cool to coach later on. And then I would start the conversations using something called the Mom Framework, which is a great book. I really, really, really recommend this book right here. It takes like 2 days to read, but basically the core idea is to learn how to ask questions in a way that leads to honest and valuable feedback. So here you see the mom test come from the notion that if you ask your mom if your business is a good idea, she will likely lie to protect your feelings. And that's kind of what this book tells you and teaches you, how to frame your questions in a way that it's impossible for your mom to lie. So yeah, it's a very good book, and I highly recommend it if you're into business. And then that's basically how I did my copywriting. I would sit down once or twice a week, go through my notes that I had picked up through doing research or walking, and then getting an idea in my head, and just mapped out all my ideas. And then I would choose some of these ideas, work with them over the weekend and stuff like that, and then I would schedule them into my LinkedIn. I would just basically do this, put it in here, find a picture that I like, and then I would put it as schedule. So here you can see I always like to schedule a couple days ahead, so I know I can be consistent, and I don't need to stress about having a bad time with these things. So that's what I did with my LinkedIn and copywriting funnel. So let's look at the organic sales booking strategy. So first of all, I don't know about you, but I hate to do outreach. I feel like it's not the person that I want to be, like sending a lot of DMs, being kind of pushy. I hate it. So I would rather not. I would rather make people come to me asking for my advice. So how do you do that? Well, you focus on creating great content for a small group of people that you really understand and that you focus on kind of connecting with through your content. But this takes time. So to speed that process up, it's nice to, not always, but sometimes, create a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is kind of like where you know what your target audience wants, because you've done your research, you've been in their experience, you've experienced whatever they go through, and you know that if you give them this, they would be happy, and that would solve one of their problems. So you create something that you know they want, and then you post it, and then you tell them to send you a message or comment or whatever, and then you will send it to them, right? So that's a lead magnet, and that's what I created here. So this is kind of like just a Notion template that has a video here explaining how to use this toolbox, which was this is a toolbox as a lead magnet to show someone that is a full-time student how to actually go through the different stuff that they need to figure out before actually getting to register their business, find their market, find whatever side hustle that they want to work on, ask themselves if they are ready to build a business. Like, I had basically written down every single objection that I had gotten since I was doing a lot of these client interviews and stuff like that. I knew everything that these people were thinking about. And that's what I basically wrote and tried to help people with in this lead magnet. I just had a bunch of videos where this one, I show them how to get back into routines after New Year's Eve, after having a long Christmas vacation, and how they could jump back into a good routine before school started. This was how to set up a simple budget, the kind of things that you need to do to get control of the basics, the fundament of life. And then you could start looking into, like, where is your place in the market? How do you find your different services that you can provide? How do you craft your offer? How do you actually set up your business, like the legal kind of stuff, buy domain, create a logo, register your business as a company, and like these things. I just mapped it out for the kind of person that needed this kind of thing. And then I created a funnel that in order to get this information, you had to give me your email. And when you gave me your email, you would get access. So now I would send it to you on your email, and you would be like, hey, push here and you will get access. And then here I asked them if they wanted a push, then I can help them. Obviously, just a cheeky kind of way to make them book a call with me. And then if they wanted to book a call, they told me about their LinkedIn and their email again and their name, number. And then they would get to some questions, which was kind of, what phase are you in? I'm very new and I want to get started. I have started, but I'm feeling stuck and I need someone to talk to. I am in a very low place right now. I'm considering dropping off. I get a little results, but I'm looking for help to get there faster. That's what it says. So when people fill this out, then obviously I got a notification, and then what I did then was to contact them, to basically get to know them and to see how I could help. So I did that using some LinkedIn posts. Here is a lead magnet that I used. Actually, funny thing, because this was basically a copy template that I did for my steel list here from this guy. This was the hook that he used. I just spent 90 minutes with Alex Hermosi, hooked you, but it was actually one better than this. So I basically used the same hook. I found someone that I knew my client, my ICP, really likes, and which is a big person in Norway business wise, and that is this guy. So I just said, I just got out of a 2-hour workshop with Petter Stordalen. Okay, that was a cheap lie, but now that I have your attention, let me tell you something important. And then I basically put in a cheeky picture of me and him, and then I got 60 comments, people asking me about this lead magnet. And then I started 60 conversations, and I had 60 people that potentially I could work with. So yeah, that's what I did there. And I did that twice here. And each person that I really started to get a vibe with on LinkedIn DMs, I put them into a Notion document, which was here. And then I started mapping out our conversations, and I kind of started seeing, okay, how is this person doing? He's running a media agency. I started mapping out when we had conversations. And then here he says, hey, Peter, I've followed you for a while now, and I like what you have done. I found inspiration in whatever you do, and I just want to know if you would like to have a coffee. I'm stuck with my agency, and I need some tips. And then I just said, thank you. You seem like a solid guy. Can you express a little more what you are stuck with? And then, are we talking stuck in the business or stuck in personal direction? And then we basically just chatted around that for a second. And then, yeah, when I felt like the time was ready, I said that we could basically have a chat. So that's the way I built up this, by using just a simple lead magnet. Pretty easy. And then, yeah, I also dropped this one. So I kept, whenever they registered their email on my funnel list, I also made a simple email list here with like 10-15 emails. And yeah, basically backstories of how I got started. Here I just linked to something. Backstories of how I got started and how I basically got out of these different situations that I was facing. And those were like, they were working at the same time as I was working on building a relationship in DM at the same time as they could get these emails, and also having the toolbox from the lead magnet, so they could get me from different directions and just warm up at the same time, while they were waiting for me to book in the meeting. So yeah, that was helping me a lot in the sales process. And then I used the feedback to iterate and adjust my ideal client, to find kind of like a product market fit, which is this one. So the reason why I say this is because during this hypothesis testing phase, where I was trying to get these kind of people to opt into my coaching, I realized that it was okay. I got leads, but I did not really enjoy, back to this kind of question, I didn't really enjoy working with full-time students, because I was having a very different mindset than most students when studying. I was just hustling all the time, trying to work on my business. I was not taking school very seriously compared to my classmates. I was more on the other side, where I didn't want to party. I didn't want to be an actual student. I wanted to be a grown up, make money, and do good in the professional kind of life. So when I talked to all these students, they just wanted to be students. So I tried to like work with an audience that I didn't really get and that didn't get me. And that was just, it was not aligned. So we didn't have the same values. They were in a different place in life, which fair. I just didn't want that. So I realized that if I was going to succeed and have fun doing this coaching, I needed to adjust my hypothesis, because now I had a lot of knowledge, because I had been out testing, talked, and found out that it was not a right fit. So I wanted to do this, but I just wanted to talk to someone else, someone kind of a bit more like the one that I was. And that when I realized to restructure my offer towards being a performance and accountability coach for young, ambitious people who wanted to build a business but didn't know exactly where to start and how to do it. So that was my new kind of way. So it was just a small adjustment, but this adjustment just led to me having so much more fun. And I just tweaked my lead magnet a little bit. So in the first lead magnet that I showed you, I had a different video and I just added exactly who I was talking to. So I was talking to the people in the beginning phase. They are curious on what they want to do to become their own boss, but they are not sure how to get going. And I also talked to the people that were actually going right now, but they were struggling to get kind of like the recurring income, and makes it hard for them to actually go all in. So as you can see here, I removed a lot of the stuff, and I updated a lot of the lessons and tweaked the content in here a little bit. And I also wrote the new kind of version that was suited more for who I wanted to be and who I wanted to work with. So that was the tweak. And after that, I suddenly started to get real product market fit. This was like maybe 30 days in from when I started. And now I started to get, I think you can see here, CRM. So as you can see here, you have a full-on CRM board. This is where I booked my meetings. This is my full-on basically process on everything that I need to do in order to get to my ideal number of people that I want to work with. So I set myself a date that I wanted to reach this. I didn't reach it, by the way. I spent 45 days reaching 5 clients, but I wanted to have this number. And yeah, I met some problems with my hypothesis along the way. That's why I only reached 3 clients from the 6th of January until the 31st, which was 20 working days. So yeah, my offer was around $4,000, and my conversion rate, I thought it was going to be around 30%. I thought that, so you can start from the bottom here. I need to have 248 messages that I need to send out throughout the week, throughout the 20 days. And then that means that every day I need to send out at least 12 messages. Because if you take this divided by 20, you will get 12 messages each day. And I need to book in 1 meeting each day to get to this destination. And I also need to have at least 1 meeting each day to get to this destination. So 240 in total, 30% doesn't respond. So that's only response. So that means that I'm left with 74 replies. Let's say 31% of those people does not become conversations, but 23% becomes conversations that I talk back and forth. And then out of those 23 people that I talk back and forth, I book in 16 meetings. And out of those 16 meetings, I close 31%, which leaves me to 5 new clients and 20K in the bank. That was my hypothesis. But in the beginning, I didn't have these numbers straight out. So I had to test. So this was only what I thought that I was going to do. So I thought that if I wanted to reach this, I just needed to do this each day over 20 days. So send 12 messages, book in 1 call, and then have 1 video meeting in average. So that's basically, I wanted to lay a lot higher. As you can see, some days I was connecting with a lot of people and I was sending in 16 messages, 12, 17, 13, no one on the 10th, 2, 13. I was not super consistent, to be honest. And then here you can see how many people that I tried to convert into an actual meeting and how many people that I actually booked into a meeting that day. So the first 2 days, I just warmed up people. I just talked to them and stuff. Then I booked in 1 meeting, and that was the 8th. So probably one of these 2 here. I have, of course, I don't want to show this out of privacy reasons. But yeah, then you can see basically how my pipeline was. So if they showed up, I would keep this white. But if they didn't show up, I would make it like this. And then I would write a little comment about if we had booked a new call or stuff like that. And if I didn't close them, I would make it red. And if I closed them, I would make it green. And if I did a follow-up, I would make it yellow. And then I would rate my own conversation, and then I would have my meeting link with the recording here, which I can analyze in the future. And that's what I did every single time until I reached 5 new clients. And then let's see here. So yeah, basically an example of how I did my workflow. I had a LinkedIn comment from my lead magnet. They commented. I sent over a DM with the lead magnet and I said, here you go, man. And then they would get an email. And then potential client would watch videos in the toolbox. I called it an arsenal. And then I would follow up, gathering some feedback later on in the week, be like, hey man, how was the videos? Did you find anything valuable? And I would just start a conversation from there, trying to build a relationship and get to know their problems, their situation, their goals, all of these things. And then I would try to book them into a call to see how I could help them understand how to get rid of these problems. And then I would do a 2 to 3 call close. So here it was supposed to be a link from an actual case. I can find it in my, so let's see. So let's just do Max, since he allowed me to show it to you. So what I did with Max would come to me after I sent him the lead magnets. I sent him the message and be like, hey Max, here is the toolbox. I hope you found something valuable out of it. And then 3 days went by, and then he came back to me and he was like, hey, I have completed the toolbox and booked a meeting with you on Thursday. Is it something that you would like to have ready, that you would like me to have ready before, so we can get the most out of it? And then I answered the next day saying, good stuff. No, the information that you have already filled out is good. And then I basically just put it in here for myself to remember. And yeah, let's see here. So little back and forth on messages. And then we had a first meeting, and then I sent out an offer 1st of March. So we were talking back and forth for 2 months, actually, almost 2 months before signing him. And this is the offer that I signed him on. So yeah, that was basically how I did it. It was like the thing about sales processes that I have found out. You can get sales pretty easy, but personally, I just like to really know if I can help this person out. So I like to spend a lot of time getting to know this person and them getting to know me ahead of us talking and actually shaking hands on doing a deal together, because this is important for them to know that I can be someone that can serve them and get them to whatever outcome that they have. And I need to find the right people that I actually enjoy working with. So I always spend several meetings just to see if we have the dynamics and find it fun to work together. That's why I do this thing. That's why I love this coaching phase, because it's actually fun when you meet the right people and you do good stuff back and forth, and you see that the processes that you put on, it actually works and they are happy with the results, and then it just becomes a great dynamic. So yeah, so here is my onboarding workflow that I did on my clients. Whenever I took on a new client, I put them in Notion, obviously. You know, I'm a Notion kind of guy. So here is basically how my structure would work. I would make, let's say Max in this case, I would make him his own client dashboard. That's what I did to all my new clients. And I made them a dashboard saying, this is our dashboard. Here you'll find tools, plans, homework, and to-dos. And then I basically explained how this works here. And then it would say the onboarding checklist, what he needs to do would be here. So right now he would need to pay the invoice, sign the invoice, pay the invoice, sign the contract. I have not seen that. Sign the contract, read discovery, like about our process together and what he can expect, and fill out a paper called Who You Are Today. So basically everything that I did would be videos and templates that I would make for another client earlier on that I could reuse for every client along the way. It was pretty genius. So I did the work once, and I just duplicated it towards every single person that had the same kind of issues and wanted the same kind of results. So that's what I did with the videos. And so then I had a little, like, what I expect for you in this period. I expect that you do the work within the time that we have planned, that you take it seriously and you prioritize every single step, and you work independently. And I don't always have the answers, and some settings I just want you to try and see how it works. And then we can, I just, basically told them that this is going to be a ping pong. This is not going to be me doing the work for you. We have to work together to become great at this thing. So that was onboarding. I made them do the questions, send in the questions, then read through the contract, pay the invoice, and then book a strategy call for a kickoff. So yeah, that was how I did it, and this is how the thing looked when I started. And when the program actually begins, I always like to drag these things into a new section here, and I would make phase 1 and then put the right videos that I wanted them to do each lesson between our coaching calls. They would have new tasks on the side that they needed to do towards the next round of our calls, with new homework, new templates, new action things that they needed to do here. And so just to show that would look kind of like this. So this is in phase 3. So here we can go, let's say right now it's these two left. That means that in phase 3, here is all the videos that is for phase 3 that he has done. And when all of these things are done, that means that phase 3 is done and we can move into phase 4. So that's when I would switch out these and start over with the phase 4 kind of things. And what I would do then is to put all of these things into a new folder, drag it down here in phase 3, and then do the same as I've done in phase 2 and in phase 1. So here's all the videos and things that we have worked together on for the different stuff in that phase. So that's how I did my whole back end and front end, and how I built this 20K lead coaching business from scratch while traveling the world with my girlfriend. As I said, this is not easy and it's not hard. It's just about creating a system that works for you. And there's a million ways to do this. This is not the perfect way, I'm sure, but I did this for fun. This was my hobby project. I did it because I just wanted to test. I just wanted to test for a couple of 3 months. I'm done doing this now. I did it from January to March. Closed it down after that because I just did it for the fun of it. And now I'm working with my team back in Norway again on our actual business, which is Launch. And in Launch, we help info product experts that has any type of info product that they want to launch and they want to build an online education business. We basically help them do that. So we build the funnels, we build the email sequences, we build the marketing, we do the processes just like this one, but just on a little bigger scale. So this was a fun project, and I really hope that you learned something and that you can take something from this video, because yeah, I just hope you liked it. So thank you for watching, and maybe we'll see another video later.